Let's take a look at some information and charts on Ripple for BraveNewCoin. So Ripple's embroiled into SEC lawsuit here from December 2020. It's been almost a year out. I don't know when this thing gets resolved. But it's probably closer to the end than the beginning at this point. Every other week we hear about something, or at least I do. On the sidelines about Ripple, in court, jibber-jabbing about the SEC, this, that, and the other thing. Nothing really matters until it's resolved one way or the other. I'll get to the binary bet possibility at the end of this video, but the ultimate resolution of this thing is that it's bullish in some minor way and price goes bonkers off of that. Things get relisted everywhere. It gets re-added to Grayscale and Bitwise 10 and also these other places. That's not something I want to see happen, but I can completely see that happening if this thing gets settled. I don't know, right? Who knows? But that's the biggest news that's going to impact Ripple over the next 2 years when it finally gets resolved. The big issue and the reason SEC is going after them is basically for this perpetual ICO mentality where they're dripping Ripple into the market, or at least were in from their own treasury. So they still have a significant treasury here. 6 billion Ripple, 46.5 billion is 47.4 billion is in escrow, meaning it comes in and out, offered for sale each month. So that isn't as egregious as some of this other stuff, but they still benefit from the sales. That's the thing. It's not like this is beneficial for the community, just like selling Link doesn't benefit Link, it benefits the company. Selling Ripple doesn't benefit the token, it benefits the company, right? So that's where all of this SEC stuff stems from. And you can see they had been selling a significant amount in the red here on cryptocurrency exchanges up until basically they probably caught wind of that lawsuit or realized they were in trouble, stopped it around Q4 2019 and or the depths of the bear market. I don't know what exactly was the reason why they stopped selling on exchanges, but you used to be able to see it on Polo, just a constant stream of TWAPing out, very small, minimal amounts of Ripple, just perpetually selling every second, couple seconds, whatever it was. That's no longer the case, at least from their end. And now all of their sales are institutional. So last quarter, from the escrow, they collected 158 million by selling Ripple to the open market. So, I couldn't tell you what Ripple does. I don't know what it does anymore. They claim to do a million things. All the companies they've been partnered with have, for the most part, gone after them. MoneyGram, the list goes on and on and on. They have all these gateways in all these countries that make all these PR headlines. I couldn't tell you a single person using Ripple for anything. I don't know. I don't know one person who uses Ripple as a network other than, speculating on it. Most of the nodes are in the United States and Europe, a few in Asia, New Zealand down there, and Australia. And most of the nodes are on the upgraded version, currently 1.7.3. And as far as the validators are concerned, it's not proof of stake. So you're either putting up a validator at the kindness and generosity of your own heart as a community member, or you are being subsidized by Ripple, which many of these are. And you'd have to dig through and find out which of these that are identifiable collect funding from Ripple or some Ripple adjacent company, because that's very likely the case. So it's validator-like proof of stake without the reward, basically. I mean, they have nodes, they have master node, or full nodes rather, but I don't believe they collect anything. I could be wrong there. Maybe they collect fees, which are 0, but I don't think they collect anything. Transaction counts basically flat since 2016. Some craziness that was spam on the network, some upticks in late 2020, but generally not too much going on. If we average it out even more, you can see this, maybe the floor is up from 2017, 2018, 2019. But again, I don't know who uses Ripple. I couldn't think of a single person that I know personally. Transaction value is just kind of mirroring price here. Not too much to comment on there. But if you were bullish on Ripple, you'd want to see transaction counts increasing, continuing to increase. Maybe you could say they're down from multi-year lows, or they're up from multi-year lows to 1 million, but doesn't look too great in general. NVT is nearing all-time lows, pulling up now, but that was a mega buy signal if you're a believer in NVT. Now the escrow stuff any on-chain transaction is going to influence NVT, whether it be organic, economic, or the team moving coins in and out of an escrow wallet. So you have to keep that in mind. But this was trending down, has been trending down since 2018, right? Basically at an all-time low in July, and it has bounced from there. So maybe it's valid in that regard. Active addresses rising from July lows, but again, in general, this isn't super exciting. These spikes here are spam attacks or just like very late bull cycle activity. You want to see week over week, month over month increases in activity. You don't want to see spikes. You don't want to see peaks and troughs if you're bullish on something. I mean, if we just compare that to BTC and ETH and how much different that looks for those. This is year over year increases in growth. Yes, there's peaks and troughs, but it's not extreme. It's not dramatic other than this on ETH, which I forget what this was, but this is the kind of growth and perpetual strength you want to see in a network that people are actually using. If we look at MVRV versus price in the line, MVRV in the fill, I like MVRV instead of NVT as a valid signal. MVRV is a measure of market cap versus on-chain activity directly. So usually when the market cap gets 2 times on-chain activity or greater, that's a massive sell signal, overbought signal. 2014, they got to 1.9. 2018, it got to 2.3. And most recently, it got up to like 1 and then trickled down. But let's say this thing has another run. I would definitely look to this and see where MVRV is throughout the entire thing. If MVRV creeps past 1.5, creeps past 2, that is a big, big signal just on balance that this thing is way overbought. Most coins don't reach past 2 on any bull market these days, as far as that multiple is concerned. So definitely something to watch. Ripple worldwide Google trends up from, all-time lows, but not up from over the past few months. I'd expect this to change once the SEC news hits. It's probably going to tick this up at least a little bit. And then if price follows that, Google trends will follow as well, as this thing potentially gets relisted or listed in a bunch of places in US exchanges where it got relisted or taken off exchanges, that sort of thing. Looking at the Poloniex 1-year MA and the MA multiplier, historically these have been pretty good as far as acting as a signal for buy zone, sell zone. We even hit that sell zone this year when price hit 170, just above that in May, and then pull back after that. It even hit the buy zone a couple times. So this is kind of ping-ponging back and forth. This is what you want to see, really, because it doesn't make you hold for multiple years. You could have bought in January and then gotten out by May and then rebought in August, September, and you're well on your way to a 5x plus at this point. Even where it sits here, it's due potentially for a 3x plus, 4x by the end of the year. That is extremely possible. Again, given the stupidity of what's going on all over the place, I can easily see that happening. Just at a initial one pass read, this is an incredibly bullish pattern on technicals on the daily here. Very easily could break up. This is some sort of flag pennant situation, and it could retest that level at 170, $2 based on yearly pivots, based on the previous local highs. This thing looks great. 5200 bull cross, it's above volume resistance in a vacuum. This is a long, all day long. It also, previously it had this Adam and Eve inverted breakdown, right? So it's important to see patterns play out as you sort of expect they would. Maybe this is an inverted cup and handle. Maybe this is an Adam and Eve. This is some sort of ascending triangle. The important part is to not only see patterns, even in hindsight, but to actually see them play out sort of as expected. So I fully expect this thing to break up. All the patterns previously have traded with the bias almost exactly as you'd expect them to, okay? This even had this diagonal inverted head and shoulders along with everything else in May, June, July that ended up breaking up. So it's following the rest of the market. It's not just lingering, maybe like an EOS is right now. I haven't looked at EOS lately, but that's also important. And it looks really good, consolidating in a bullish way. And the cloud is flipping bullish today or tomorrow, this week, whatever. This thing is super bipolar all over the place, but it is bullish on the cloud on the daily. So, you can't deny it's above the FIT 200 on the daily. It's above the cloud on the daily. It's got a bullish pattern. I don't want this thing to go up, but the chart looks really good. You know, even XRP BTC, this might take all of 2022 to play out, but this is also potentially an inverted head and shoulders type of setup. And maybe you could argue diamond bottom. I don't know. I don't know how long this takes to break up. I don't want to be on a timeline where this does break up, but again, the chart is the chart and it looks decent. Even if this thing breaks 2600 sats, you know, whatever this volume node is here, this basically this resistance level, that is arguably good enough for this inverted head and shoulders continuation. So I'd watch 26, I'd watch 37, and then past that, this thing could easily reach for 5,500 sats to 7,000 sats. I mean, if things get really wonky and you see this burst of activity relating to any SEC news, that could happen. We could also just see this organically with altcoin mania. I just have a harder time seeing it happen when this is listed in less places, but there's no fundamental reason this thing should go up. You know, it might do what it does. I don't know. I don't really see anybody using it. So that's really the big issue. And XRP ETH is basically at all-time lows. But again, this thing could double bottom. This thing could 5,200 bull cross, tons of volume down here, and just reach for 001 in the next 6 months. So in a vacuum, technicals across the board to me look phenomenal for Ripple. Sadly, fundamentally, you know, this thing has more PR and fluff than probably anything in the space. So much spin and reframing on what they actually do, what they actually are. Just keep that in mind. A lot of this stuff is astroturfed on Twitter, on YouTube, even the comments in these videos. Typically, if they get picked up by the bots, you'll just see tons and tons and tons of nonsense. So don't become a community member. Have fun trading it. You know, that's all I have to say about that one. Last, I'll just mention ETHBTC and DeFi portfolio that I trade for Techme Capital on Enzyme.finance, a non-custodial portfolio management solution where you can send ETH or USDC or just watch what I'm doing. You can see everything, including AUM performance, allocation, all the fun vaults and yield plays I'm making here, as well as the trades in the trades tab below. That's all I have for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.